Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, good morning, welcome. Sachidanand Murthy, I know you have to go, but I can't let you go before I get your view on how this whole case is now developing and what the Prime Minister will have to do.
Adam, now it all depends on, because when the court said that you should not listen to the political masters anymore, that is for the future. But what about what the political masters have done during the past few weeks? And what will the court prescribe for that? If the court pulls up the government, then that means ultimately the Prime Minister will have to take responsibility and act on that. Now, knowing our Prime Minister, he will not act in haste or in hurry or in a kind of...
But he has to
It's not like VP Singh would take action immediately. Manmohan Singh is a very slow person on this. So, I think unless the court... What is the exact nature of the court order? If it says that CBI will not anymore report to them, and what they have done, that action should be taken all concerned. Suppose the court issues, decides to issue contempt notices, or even ask the law minister to file an affidavit, what he did. So then, that is where, so the onus on the Prime Minister will come. That's what the final order is very critical now.
Of course,
we know the mood of the court, but what is the final order?
That's we're waiting. These are only observations I'd like to highlight again. We wait for the final order. Nothing should preempt the final order. Sachi, thanks, I know you have to go. Mr. Murthy, we're getting reactions. I think we're getting a first political reaction. I think this is Salman Khurshid. On the court, says Salman Khurshid. I think Sitaram Yechury is with us on the phone line. Are you there, Mr. Yechury? Good morning again. No, we lost the phone line with Mr. Sitaram Yechury again. Still waiting for those final moments when the court will come out with its verdict. But I can tell you this morning, it's not looking good for the government at all. Very soon, and perhaps in a few minutes, the government and the Prime Minister will have to decide what to do with this man, Ashwini Kumar, who has brought about for the government and to his Prime Minister, who is seen to have backed him all the way, a huge amount of embarrassment. The question right now is this: is there enough deniability in this for the Prime Minister? Sambit Patra, the BJP spokesperson. Mr. Patra, what do you think the Prime Minister is going to have to do?
Arnav, I believe in this whole episode, the government, especially the Prime Minister and the Law Minister, have been critically injured. They have been injured to an extent where I believe no amount of ICU intervention can extend their life, especially the Law Ministers. You know, ironically, Ashwini, the word Ashwini means a very stable and a healthy and powerful horse, which leads the people around him or her towards victory. But this horse, Mr. Ashwini, has faltered. He has become a lame horse. But more importantly, the person who is riding the horse, that is none other than the Prime Minister. I believe the government is trying to save this rider, the Prime Minister.
What if the Prime Minister makes the horse the scapegoat and says, okay, Mr. Ashwini Kumar, I backed you so far, but now, after what the Supreme Court has said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. Will the opposition then say that the Prime Minister has acted and we will now stop our week-long attack on this issue?
Very true. See, the buck finally stops. After checking the Law Minister's office, the buck finally stops at the Prime Minister's residence, the PMO's office. So ultimate head which has to roll down has to be the Prime Minister head, because it's all crystal clear as to who the man is responsible. I mean, who is responsible for all this? And it is none other than the Prime Minister, and his office is trying to be protected.
So what if the Prime Minister says that I was not aware, there have been certain indiscretions which have been carried out in the absence of my personal knowledge by my Law Minister? He's inexperienced man. He has been over enthusiastic. He has crossed the brief. It is unfortunate. I was not aware, and now that I have been made aware in the last 2 or 3 days, I will be ready to sack. I will be ready to sack the Honorable Law Minister. First, we are getting a reaction from Mr. Rudy. Then I'm coming back.
उस पर आज चर्चा उच्चतम न्यायालय में हुआ और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने स्पष्ट तौर से कहा है कि हम जो तथ्य उभर के आए हैं वो बहुत ही डिस्टर्बिंग है उसने ये भी कहा है कि सरकार ने हमारा भरोसा तोड़ा है और ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। जिस विषय की हम चर्चा कर रहे हैं, इससे बड़ा विषय और क्या हो सकता है जिसमें स्वयं देश के प्रधानमंत्री का नाम आ रहा हो कोयला घोटाले में। उसमें उच्चतम न्यायालय ने इतनी बड़ी टिप्पणी की कि सरकार ने हमारा भरोसा तोड़ा है, सरकार ने जिस प्रकार से ये कदम उठाया ये बहुत डिस्टर्बिंग है। इससे बड़ी टिप्पणी उच्चतम न्यायालय और क्या दे सकता है। और वैसे स्थिति में भी देश के प्रधानमंत्री इतने आरोपों के बाद और इस तरह की टिप्पणी के बाद अपनी कुर्सी पर जमे रहना चाहे, मैं समझता हूं कि लोकतंत्र के लिए खतरा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने ये जो मांग किया है कि अविलंब देश के प्रधानमंत्री को इस्तीफा देना चाहिए, क्योंकि अब उच्चतम न्यायालय की टिप्पणी के बाद अब संसद के भीतर और देश के सामने कुछ नहीं बचा है। प्रधानमंत्री को देश के हित में, लोकतंत्र के हित में और अपने इस पद के हित में उन्हें अविलंब इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
BJP demands the Prime Minister's resignation once again, following out there the observations of the Supreme Court. It's quite clear to me, Mr. Patra, that the BJP's direct point of attack is no longer the Law Minister alone, but the Prime Minister himself.
Very true. Very true. Arnav, the Prime Minister has been trying to shield himself with a feign of ignorance, that he has been ignorant of most of the things that are going on. And this is not becoming of a Prime Minister of the country, a Prime Minister who does not know as to how the spectrum was distributed, a Prime Minister who does not know as to how the coal gate was looked upon, a Prime Minister who does not know that the CBI report was vetted, is not supposed to be the Prime Minister of the country. He should retire and he should relax.
Well, Sambit Patra of the BJP, aggressive BJP this morning, taking full advantage of the observations of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, Nirja, tells the CBI, you don't need to take instructions from political masters. But doesn't the fact that the Supreme Court has to raise something that is a given to an institution that is supposed to be independent and autonomous, isn't that a telling reflection of the state of the CBI today, especially under this government?
I think, Arnab, are you asking me?
Yes, that's to you. That's to you.
Yeah. No, it is a kind of state of affairs that has been under discussion, and while repeatedly there has been a demand that the CBI needs to be independent of the government, I think there needs to be a more serious debate of how this actually comes about. That's point number one. But what is also striking me, of course there is the whole question of the government trying to interfere in the functioning of the CBI. But even that attempt to interfere is marked with such ineptitude. This government has not even been able to handle that. They made such a mess of it, such a hash of it. So it is the ineptitude of this government, not only that they are interfering in the functioning of what should be independent institutions. Totally.
This case is getting complicated as I go across to Navika. The fact is, this kind of suppression is not ordinary, the Supreme Court has said. It may not be ordinary, but hasn't it become the norm? From the fodder scam to Mayawati to the Bhopal gas tragedy case, innumerable times in politically sensitive cases in our country, the CBI's role has come under the scanner. Which is why, Navika, I'm reiterating the point that what happens to the court this morning as we wait for what happens in court will have unique significance on the independence and functioning of the CBI and will perhaps bring this government under greater pressure than ever before. Navika.